We are possibly waiting on an additional board member to join us. We hope that she does. But with that said, we'll kick this meeting off. To begin with an opening statement, if anybody is going to be joining us concerned with item B4, Sanders Road, that item has been deferred. So with that said, we'll get started. So virtual meeting protocol, staff will control the slides displayed throughout the meeting. Applicants, staff, board members, and members of the public should give their name first whenever speaking. Applicants and members of the public must be sworn in before speaking for the first time. Only attendees who have registered to speak before the deadline at noon today may speak during the meeting. Video and microphone have been disabled for all attendees. Attendees will only be given the capabilities to speak when they are called on during the public comment period. Board members who need to recuse themselves from voting will be temporarily removed from the meeting and readmitted prior to addressing the next item on the agenda. If the board needs to go into executive session, they will call into a separate conference line, and all video and audio on Zoom will be temporarily turned off until they are ready to return to the regular meeting. Chat has been disabled for everyone. And of course, this meeting is public and is being recorded. I'll hand it over to Mr. Joel Adrian, our chairman.
Thank you, Eric. This is the March 3rd, 2021 meeting of the City of Charleston Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design. Present are Amanda Barton, Jeff Webb, Ruthie Ravenel, Calvin Yuji, myself, Joel Adrian. Present from the planning staff are Eric Schultz and Lee Batchelder. These proceedings are being recorded. We ask that those who speak identify themselves for the record. We will conduct this meeting in usual fashion. We will first receive information from city staff about the application and their recommendation. If the recommendation is favorable and no one objects to the application, usually the Board of Zoning Appeals treats the matter as being uncontested and passes it as a matter of course. If, however, the city recommends against the application or there is opposition to the application, we treat the application as contested and hear from the applicant and anyone else who is in favor of the application. Next, we hear from anyone opposed, followed by a short rebuttal from the applicant. We then close the public hearing portion of the meeting for that particular application and open discussion to the Board of Zoning Appeals members only. We will then make a decision to approve with conditions, or deny the application. Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design has the authority to do three things. 1, hear appeals to decisions of the zoning administrator. 2, grant special exceptions, a fact-finding function of the board. And 3, grant variances to the zoning ordinance if the application meets the hardship test outlined in section 54(9)24 of the ordinance. The board may deliberate and make a final decision on a matter by a majority vote of members present at the hearing and qualified to vote, provided that not less than a quorum are present and qualified to vote. For a variance to be granted, the Board of Zoning Appeals must make the following findings. A, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. B, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. C, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And D, the authorization of a variance would not be a substantial detriment to the adjacent property or to the public good. The character of the district would not be harmed by the granting of the variance. So
Very
that
good.
goes back to you, right, Eric?
Yes.
Joel, Paula Murphy's here.
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, for the record, both Paula Murphy and Andrew Hargett are present.
Oh, fantastic.
Full house. Thank you very much for attending. All right, so this slide, public comment. Order on each application. The chair announces each application followed by staff presentation and recommendation. Staff will call on the applicant to present their application after being sworn in by the chair. Staff will open the public comment period to receive comments from registered attendees in favor, first spoken, then written. Each speaker will be sworn in by the chair. Staff will then recognize registered attendees for public comments in opposition after the speaker is sworn in, first spoken, then written. Staff will recognize the applicant for a short rebuttal. The chair will then close the public comment period and begin board discussion. And providing comment, if you submitted a request to speak on an item before the deadline, staff will call your name when it is your turn to speak and enable your microphone. Your microphone will be disabled after you're done speaking, and you may only speak once for each item, and you must state your name and address for the record, or you will not be permitted to provide comment. Board discussion following public comment period, board members can make comments, ask questions, and make motions. After a motion and a second, board members will vote aye in favor or nay not in favor. If a vote is not unanimous, the chair will poll each member for their vote. The chairman will announce the vote on the motion and the final decision on the application. If a board member again needs to recuse himself or herself, will be temporarily removed from the meeting and placed back in the meeting at the start of the next agenda item. And if the board goes into executive session, they will call into a separate conference line, and all video and audio and Zoom will be temporarily turned off until they are ready to return to the regular meeting. So again, I just want to state for the record that item B4 has been deferred. And with that said, item A1, approval of the February 3rd, 2021 Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design meeting minutes. This is our long form that is posted after the meeting, and it includes the vote and the motion and the conditions.
Excellent. This is Chairman Adrian. I did not see any issues with what was recorded in the minutes. They looked correct to me.
I make a motion, we move to approve the minutes from February 3, 2021.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is for approval by Amanda Barton, seconded by Jeff Webb. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
What I'll say, is there anybody not in favor of the motion? Okay, then the motion is approved 7-0. So with that, we'll move on to the first new application on the day, which is item B1. It is 194 Cannon Street, the TMS number of 46010040013, application number 210303B1. Request a special exception from section 54.327 to allow the removal of one grand tree. It is zone PUD.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is the application that was submitted, and it's a request for a special exception to remove one grand tree. The site is that oddly shaped site that is bound by both Spring Street and Cannon Street, kind of linear east to west, and it does have a notch in it on the northeast corner there. Both properties are zone PUD. We're dealing with this specific property tonight. The existing site is two vacant drive-through fast food restaurants. I believe one was a bagel shop and the other one was a fast food restaurant. I can't remember if it was Burger King or a burger joint of some sort. Anyway, I can't recall. But anyway, both sitting vacant. This is the existing survey. The red box kind of on the northeast corner is the tree in question. And the proposal is this. I might just back up a step relative to the PUD. A number of years ago, the city, along with the owner, went through a really intense, robust process to get to this point, the rezoning. And what was basically decided upon as that PUD moved through the planning commission process and then ultimately ratified by city council was that a 60-foot right-of-way would be set aside to bisect the site north to south. And that is an envisioned new public street. There's a lot of complications with that relative to the PUD and the city involvement and so on and so forth, but it really is an extension of Haygood Avenue, if you will. So that was agreed upon, and the PUD language requires that 60 foot. This plan basically is proposing to build a hotel on the west side of that 60 foot right of way, future right of way, and a parking deck on the east side. So we're dealing with the east side, and you can see that the building is providing a very gracious sidewalk along Cannon Street, because once that road is built, it's envisioned that that will be a major north-south connection between the medical district and West Edge. So there's a lot of work ahead as far as signalization and SCDOT approvals and what have you, but it's envisioned to have a lot of foot traffic through that area. So they're given a very gracious walk on the south side of the building, pushing the building to the north side. So that's a little bit of the history of where we're at with this project. That's a close-up. It's a 34-inch hackberry tree. I'm anxiously awaiting, to be honest with you, how well it leaves out this spring. I can't say that it's in serious decline, but the peninsula in general has seen a major decline in hackberry trees due to, we're not quite sure if it's a disease or some other vector, insect or what have you, but a lot of hackberry trees are under attack and dying in the city, as well as other portions of the city. Anyway, it's inside the property by that much, and the garage is hugging that northern property line, if you will. It was viewed by the arborist with natural directions, as you see there, is rated as a D. Parking lot view included bark, multi-stem. These are the photos that I sent or took the other day, just getting up closer to it. But anyway, so with that said, we need to recognize the development team, Mr. Trey Linton, and I have to apologize. We haven't been able to master, in my opinion, this process of having people register and what have you. So I know the applicants' names and I know most of their teams, but anyway, we'll recognize Trey. And Trey, do you have any other member of your team present that needs to be identified?
Good evening, Eric. I think it's just me on, and I know the owner may be calling in, but that I'll be the only one speaking.
Okay. Do you recognize the phone number with the last 4 digits of 9471? Do you see a phone number?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Okay. If that's an individual associated with this project, please raise your hand and we'll try and include you in this discussion. But Mr. Chairman, you can proceed with Mr. Linton.
Okay, Trey, I'm going to swear you in for the record, and afterwards if you would state your full name and your address, and then you may begin your presentation. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent. Your name and address?
My name is Trey Linton, 706 North Godfrey Park Place, Charleston, South Carolina.
Thank you. You may
and
proceed.
Trey, before you kick it off, I got ahead of myself. I just want to, the next slide is, I failed to go to advance, but the staff recommendation is for approval with the condition to plant 17 caliber inches. That's 50% of a category 3 tree. Hopefully we can get some native canopy trees or another appropriate tree within the plazas and the open space around the building. But if not, they'll make a contribution to the city street tree program. And obviously through the TRC process, we'll have an approved or a landscape plan to be approved by staff.
Excellent. Trey, it's all yours.
Thank you, Joel. I don't have much more to add than what Eric said earlier. I'll just state that, kind of reiterate one thing he did mention is we're pulling the sidewalk back along Cannon Street. We're trying to activate that area for pedestrian activity. in the future with that future connection to West Edge. And we are working with Remark Landscape Architecture Group, and the triangle piece north of the garage is planned for quite a bit of landscaping, and then we have plazas throughout that will have many canopy trees added to the site.
Okay.
And I'm open for any questions if y'all have any. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trey. Eric, is there anybody that was registered to speak against the application?
Mr. Chairman, nobody registered to speak in favor or oppose the project.
Okay, then we'll close this application to the public, and it'll be open to the board for discussion. And I guess I don't see any issues. Hackberry tree. So I'll just let y'all start with questions or any discussion you have.
The tree in question has structural problems. You can see it's got some codominance and it's getting ready to split the other trunk there. Also, to Eric's point, down at MUSC, the parking lots off of Haygood and everywhere else, we have cut down probably 35 dead hackberries. There is a disease going through them. I believe it's a vascular problem that they are having, and nobody has really generated where it's from. This problem raised its head in Columbia, and it's moved this way and up to Augusta, and is attacking hackberries pretty regularly.
All right. Anybody else have any comments?
I have no problem with it, and I make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
I'll second that. Paula Murphy.
Okay. So we've got a motion by Ms. Barton for approval with staff conditions, seconded by Ms. Murphy. I'll go through the roll. If y'all just say aye in favor or nay not in favor. Ms. Barton?
Aye in favor.
Mr. Webb?
Aye in favor.
Ms. Ravenel?
Aye in favor.
Mr. Eugene?
Aye, excuse me, aye in favor.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye in favor.
Mr. Hargett?
Aye in favor.
Excellent. Mr. Adrian is also aye in favor, so it is approved unanimously 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move to our second item. Jeff, this being ADC Engineering, are you recusing yourself?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess if we'll take Jeff offline, I'll go ahead and read this in. It's item B2. It is 54 St. Philip Street, the TMS number 457-0402-043. Application number 2103-03-B2. Requested variance from section 54.327 to allow the removal of 5 protected trees zoned GB.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the application for 54 St. Philip Street. Their variance test answers. Long linear parcel adjacent to St. Philip, bound by Calhoun. And it's actually got a couple structures on the southern side on George. Zone GB, part of the College of Charleston campus. So we're dealing with the older portion of the large structure that you see there. The northern structure with that ridged roof was constructed a number of years ago. I think that's the Cato Center of the Arts. And then we have the Simmons Center, which is on the southern half. And that is ready to embark on a major renovation. And it also is calling for some infill additions, if you will, on the west side in that courtyard and on the south west corner of the building where there's a little existing notch out today. So we're dealing with holly trees There's numerous live oaks and crepe myrtles, live oaks predominantly in the parking lot to the south. A few others scattered about around the perimeter on St. Philip and Calhoun. In this courtyard, which is kind of a sunken courtyard, there's American holly and then a holly on the south side of the building. You can see the tree survey here. And then this exhibit, it shows the yellow portion to be renovated, and the pink is the new additions, the infill. There will still be a small courtyard. You know, this will have to go through BAR and their early, as far as architecturals and what have you, but you can see that the new addition probably takes maybe 70% of that courtyard. And then they're rebuilding. There's a lot of utility work, and they have to rebuild the parking lot on the south side and bring new utilities and things in on that southern facade. So a holly tree there. So you can see the photos. Multi-stem, they do, you know, 8 inches and above is our rule. Size, a couple of them double. Very limited soil volumes in that courtyard. On the south side there. So again, I believe, you know, the hardship is met with the new programming and upgrading a facility that is in need on an institutional campus, and available space. Parking is critical, so they can't really, they don't want to lose parking. And then on the east side, they have an easement, if you will, that parallels that property line that leads back to the huge student housing facility and fire access, so they can't build to the east, and parking is a premium on the south side. So what little area they can put additions, they're seeking to do so. So staff recommends approval with the condition 5 inches per protected tree, so 25 caliber inches of recommended canopy trees to be planted on the site. I'll allow them, if they can't get it all around this particular building or on the south side, to find homes for trees on the campus with some kind of a document that shows where they'll be planted. Must provide a landscape plan for staff review and approval. Must use 4-foot chain link fence. You know, lay down area during construction is going to be a premium in that parking lot, so we don't want to damage the nice live oaks. I must have a certified arborist treat all protected trees to be preserved. So with that said, we need to recognize the ADC team as well as the Leolio architecture team. So Gary Jensen, Chris Cook, Brad Whelan, Liz Kaur, and Maureen Coughlin. Correct me if I missed anybody, please, Chris. Mr. Cook, can you hear us?
Yep, Eric, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get Marie at Outdoor Spatial Design?
Marie Fryer.
Yes.
Marie Fryer, please. We'll recognize her. So Marie, Chris, Brad, Maureen. Who else am I leaving out?
And you said you had Liz Kaur at Leolio.
Oh, yes, right? Liz, yes.
And
yes.
honestly, Eric, that's just to be available to answer questions. I think my presentation will be very short. And
okay. All right, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody that will be speaking, I'm going to swear you all in for the record. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent. All right. Well, Chris, if you would state your full name, address, then the floor is yours.
Christopher Cook, 1226 Yeamans Hall Road, Hanahan, South Carolina. And thank you, Joel. I think Eric presented it pretty well. I think one thing that I will add and then be available to answer any questions, as well as the the rest of the design team and also the owner representative, Mr. Whelan for the College of Charleston. I think one of the key things, in addition to the proximity to the building, the courtyard that is on St. Philip Street that Eric referred to that is depressed, it's about 30 inches lower than the sidewalk in St. Philip Street. And one of the key components of this project is to eliminate that depressed courtyard and create a new at-grade ADA accessible courtyard that will be just to the right of the main entrance. As you can see, that courtyard area lines up with the College Greenway that in that plan view goes to the south. And so that is a major pedestrian avenue from the Greenway up into the Arts Center. And all of those trees being in tree wells and depressed areas, there's really no way that we can save those trees. So there is some building addition that's happening in these areas, but it's also primarily getting rid of that depressed courtyard area and being able to put something in that is at grade. The other holly that is at the south end of the building or in plan to the right, this project is in a special protection area from a stormwater standpoint. And so all of the stormwater management is going under that parking lot. And in order to get that water piped into that system, that holly tree that is shown at the right end of the building is at a location and there's only a very small window between an indoor auditorium and an outdoor transformer that stormwater pipe can discharge. Additionally, that tree is about 5 feet off the face of the building. So it would be very difficult to protect during the improvements that are being made. With that, I think that I'll leave it to the board to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Schultz, if there is nobody registered opposed to the application or in favor, then we'll close this. Is there anybody?
Mr. Chairman, nobody registered to speak in favor or oppose this application.
Excellent. We will close this application to the public and it will be opened to the board. And I'll just start and say that I don't see any issues with the application personally. Anybody else?
I'm assuming that there's adequate drainage plan in the renovation to make up for the lost thirstiness of those trees. What's the right term on that?
So are you thinking that the beds absorb water and
right?
Help? Yeah, so they're not bioswales by any means. It's a engineered and structured plaza, sunken plaza, if you will, and the soil volume is limited for these trees, but they do, I assume, do some part in stormwater management.
But do they not mention, I guess there's a system going in under the parking lot?
Yeah, I can answer. Can I answer that, Eric?
Yes, Chris, please do.
Yeah. So I should note that there are some planting areas that are going into the new courtyard. It's not at the same size of what's coming out. As Eric said, though, those trees are in some very confined spaces. Those are all bricked planters that are in there now. The drainage system that's going in is under the parking lot at the south end of the building. We are reducing runoff because this is in a special protection area. We're reducing runoff from what leaves that site today by 50%. I mean, it's not just limiting our runoff to what was there before, but we're actually reducing the rate and volume of runoff by 50% on this project with the new stormwater system.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions or comments?
I would make a motion to approve with staff conditions.
right, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second. This is Ruthie Ravenel.
What are the staff conditions
Excellent.
again?
So Andrew, go ahead.
What are the staff conditions again?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
25, yeah, 25 caliber inches of recommended canopy trees on the project site and or elsewhere on the campus. I really don't think they'll need to make a contribution to the city's street tree program. Provide a landscape plan for staff review and approval. Use 4-foot chain link fence for the live oaks that are going to be in the construction zone for the undergrounding of the stormwater and living in, you know, okay soil volumes today. And then have a certified arborist treat all protected trees. So all the live oaks on the south side and elsewhere around the building will be pruned if necessary of any dead wood and looked at.
That's for the recorded record, right? I mean, you're not saying I can't read, right?
No, that's I just read them again.
Okay, so we have a motion for approval by Ms. Murphy, seconded by Ms. Ravenel. I'm going to go through the roll and say aye in favor or nay not in favor. Ms. Barton? Amanda Barton? Amanda?
I in favor. My dog was coughing. I turned off my.
Okay, excellent. Jeff has abstained. So Ms. Ravenel?
I in favor.
Mr. Yuji?
I in favor.
Ms. Murphy?
I in favor.
Mr. Hargett?
I in favor.
And Mr. Adrian also is aye in favor, so it is approved 6-0. Thank you for your time today. And I guess if we can bring Jeff back. Then we'll go to our final item on today's agenda. Jeff, let us know when you're back in.
I'm back.
Okay, excellent. So our last item is item B3, and that is 45 Romney Street, the TMS number 46113011051, application number 2103-03B3. Requested variance from section 54.511.B to allow a non-hard parking surface. It is zoned UP.
This is the application for 45 Romney Street. This parcel, again, is a north-south paralleling Nassau, or yeah, I believe that's Nassau. Anyway, it's between Romney and Conroy. Hanover Street, I'm sorry, one street over. So bound by North Hanover, Romney, and Conroy, zone UP, that's Upper Peninsula. In this case, this is unusual because the value of lands, obviously, if anybody's been observing this neck of the city, this area of the city, it's incredible what's going on here. But this is a project that will repurpose what was an automotive repair shop. It had many bay doors and it had been used as an auto repair shop for many, many years with basically a continuous curb cut around the perimeter. And it was bound by that huge parking lot, which is now the Charleston Digital Corridor headquarters, as well as a city parking garage. So they're taking the shell of the building, putting a new skin on it, dividing the space into 3 or 4 that you can see there. The west side is going to be a huge pedestrian plaza with outdoor dining. I believe a pretty large, one of the larger spaces is already spoken for a restaurant. So their plan is to have outdoor dining, movable chairs, tables, what have you. Probably pretty convenient for COVID-19 scenario right now. They'll have a one-way drive running from the north to south, and then a 2-way full access driveway on Hanover. So they're building sidewalks around the perimeter. So this this has received TRC review, is under construction. However, they started to think about some of the Upper Peninsula initiatives, even though they're not going above 4 stories, obviously, they're just staying at 1 story. But a lot of Upper Peninsula initiatives talk about trying to rethink how you deal with stormwater, you know, open space improvements. So we're getting trees, we're getting islands, and what they would like to do, and because of the nature of the business, basically every parking space is a minimum required parking space. And the ordinance today says that for this type of use, you have to have a hard surface. So the pink area is where they would like to do a non-hard surface. So your main travel lanes would be, you know, still paved. Your handicap spaces would be hard. This is a blow up of those spaces. Again, you'll see the detail that they're going to be using, and they'll have, you know, a lot of gravel put underneath there. They'll have the ribbon curb to keep the gravel in place versus on the asphalt. And then, so they're looking at this particular system here, where they have to do some subgrade work to allow water to actually be recharged into the groundwater. So it's a plastic type grid system placed on top of a gravel that allows water to move through. Some more details, and then a couple of photos of where it's been used and how you treat your parking delineation, parking lines and what have you. And then of course I was on site, and you can see that we're under construction. They're putting in, you know, this is near a marsh area to the south, a block away. So they have to meet all sorts of stormwater, but they're just trying to better the stormwater effort and how to handle stormwater. So with that said, due to the location of the parking spaces, this is a special exception. So this is a fact-finding function. The wear and tear, the turning movements, you know, if you think of cars moving around the center double loaded island, if you will, that's where you get a lot of wear. So that's going to be hard. And then these perimeter spaces will have a softer look and be bound by perimeter landscaping and trees on the ends and what have you. So I think the facts are evident, and I think it's a good solution. So therefore staff recommends approval with the condition that it just has to be blessed by TRC members as a modification to the previously approved plans. So with that said, Mr. Mike Johnson with Forsberg Engineering, we could recognize him. Well, he just disappeared. Michael Johnson. He was there.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yes, now I can.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Very good. Is there any other member of your team that we need to recognize?
No, sir. It's just me today.
Okay, very good.
Excellent. Well, this is Chairman Adrian. I'm going to swear you in for the record. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I have to correct myself. Before you get started, again, I don't know if I'm starting to show my age, but I think we listed it as a special exception, and I hope this isn't problematic, but I'm almost assured that 54-411 is a special exception where it's a fact-finding function. So again, I apologize. If, you know, I hope that, you know, a variance is a hardship test, but I can assure you that there is a section that allows for exceptions, 54-511. So my apologies.
Okay. Well, Mr. Johnson, let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent. If you'd state your full name and address for the record.
Michael Johnson, 390 Hugie Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29403.
Thank you. The floor is yours if you have anything you'd like to add.
No, I think Eric covered it all. You know, we are in a special protection area known for flooding, and we are trying to, this will provide additional storage and help with those efforts. We have reached out to Kinsey Holton at the Stormwater Department, and he did say that he would support this change.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Eric, is there anybody that was registered to speak in favor or oppose the application?
No, Mr. Chairman, nobody registered to speak in favor or oppose.
Okay, then, Mr. Johnson, if you don't have anything further to add, we'll close this application to the public. We'll open it to the board for discussion.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Actually, I have a question for the engineer. Just what stormwater calculations did you run? Did you run the 100-year storm, the 50-year storm, and then also what's the overflow if when your soft parking gets oversaturated? Is there like an overflow where it's going? I'm presuming you figured all that out.
Yes, sir. We have run through all the storms, and as part of being inside an SPA area, we have to have a 50% reduction from the existing runoff discharges, and we can't increase the volume. If in a 100-year storm, we do not overtop the existing inlet elevations, or sorry, the proposed inlet elevations. In a very significant storm, if water did go over top, it would just go into the city system right there. There are inlets along the street.
I got you. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Is there any other questions? I personally think, the location where they're requesting the the pervious parking certainly makes sense. I don't see an issue with it.
I think the main issue is a maintenance issue, of keeping, the polygrid pavers, hold up. I think a lot of those products are new enough that we don't know how they last, 40 years down the road, but certainly are, working in the 10-year, 15-year lifespan that most of those products have been out so far. But, anything we can do to add to drainage on the peninsula, I think is not a bad idea. What do you think, Jeff?
Concur.
I would like to add that as part of the TRC submitted on the Stormwater Department, these are included in the covenants for stormwater maintenance. So the owner has a signed document that he's submitted to the city that says that he will maintain these. If it does seem that these things are getting filled with sediment, he is responsible for going in there and cleaning it out.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion or any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve with, I don't remember what the staff recommendations were there. Did you have any?
Yes, I did. It was that we have to just get it blessed by TRC as a modification to the previously approved plan. So as Mr. Johnson mentioned that he's spoken with Kinsey, apparently supportive. So we'll just get an addendum approved to those sets of plans.
Okay. I'll keep that motion for approval with staff recommendations.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second. This is Ruthie Ravenel.
All right. So we have the motion for approval with staff condition by Mr. Webb, seconded by Ms. Ravenel. And I'll go through the roll here. Mr. Hargett.
Aye, in favor.
Excellent. Ms. Barton.
Aye, in favor.
Mr. Webb.
Aye, in favor.
Mr. Ravenel.
Aye, in favor.
Mr. Eugene.
Aye, in favor.
Ms. Murphy.
I in favor.
And Mr. Adrian is also aye in favor. So this one is approved unanimously 7-0. Thank you. And that concludes our meeting for March 3rd.
That is correct. Item B4 has been deferred. So we may visit that next month, but thank you all very much.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you.